All right, everybody. I'm back. It's been a long time, hasn't it? Did you miss me? I know you did. So, I just wanted to make a quick video because I saw everybody else doing it and I like to fit in. Kind of busy last season, that's why I wasn't able to make any content, but I was really excited about the team that I had. It was a great season. Didn't go quite as planned at the end, but you know what? That's the game we play. So I wanted to go over this team just really quickly and then over my new team really quickly. We're going to keep this video very brief, okay? The name of the game last season and this season is unpredictability. Now, Iron Valiant, I think, is a phenomenal Pokemon. I think part of the reason that it's so good is you don't know what it's going to bring every week. Okay, it has a very high attack stat and a pretty high special attack stat and an amazing move pool. The move pool also contains a lot of support moves. And those were pretty big for me last season. So I did have that wide guard. I did have quick guard. I ran Icy Wind quite a bit. And then I also ran some, offensive sets. So Iron Valiant was a really big part of my success last season, and then I had a lot of really good support pieces too, like Fungus that I added late in the season, Luxray, we had Gyarados earlier in the season, Sableye, phenomenal, Prankstermon, and then the offensive threats, right? We have Goldingo, which threatens really huge special attacks constantly, and Baxcalibur, which is a huge physical threat. So the changes that I made late in the season, I think, really helped me make that push through the first round of playoffs, which amazing set, by the way. Goose, shouts out to my man. And then Corviknight was kind of another backbone to this team. This team had multiple backbones, like a new species or something. Bulky switch in, right? And I ran Choice Band. I ran Leftovers. I ran a bunch of different sets on this thing too. So the versatility of this team is, I think, what made it pretty strong. Pretty well-performing team last season. So I wanted to go for something kind of similar in this draft. Tornadus is something that I had my eye on. I felt like this is the best Pokemon on the board. I know a lot of people say Urshifu, and there's strong arguments to be made for a lot of other Pokemon in that 25, 24, 23 point tier. Tornadus does so much. And in draft, the ability to run Prankster or Defiant, which I think it can run pretty well. I know it doesn't have the greatest physically offensive move pool, but in draft, it doesn't have to be the greatest, right? You just have to catch your opponent by surprise. So my next few picks, I was like, what Pokemon can I bring to surprise my opponents every week? Now, Typhlosion is something that I also had on my radar. I used regular Typhlosion in BDSP a few seasons ago, and Fast Eruption is just busted. There are some weeks where that can just win you the game, but I knew that wouldn't be enough, right? You can't just have Typhlosion as your offensive threat. It's pretty easy to prep for if it's the only thing there is. So what do I throw on the team with it? Well, let's throw some rain mode in there, sprinkle in. I know a lot of people talked about this team's pretty reliant on rain mode. I don't think that's true. Overquill functions both in and out of rain. So Intimidate is a really good ability. Beartick, kind of the same thing. I picked this up late in the draft, but it was on my radar very early. So I was talking to some people about this Pokemon, and with Tornadus and those 4 weather setting abilities, moves, Beartick just seemed like a really good choice. So with Slush Rush, or Swift Swim, this thing is going to be outspeeding a lot, but it's also slow enough that it can function in Trick Room. So again, another really versatile Mon to add to this team. Sort of doesn't synergize extremely well with Typhlosion, but it makes my team a lot harder to prep for, right? So if you're prepping for Rain, then you're neglecting Sun. And if you're prepping for Sun, then maybe you're neglecting, oh wait, we also have a Snow mode, right? So Rotom Frost, I think, super underrated Pokemon. So I think this thing was like, what, 8 points? Yeah, 8 points. I mean, the typing, not phenomenal, right? It's an ice type. But when we get that Snowscape set up, all of a sudden that defense doubles. We throw a Scarf on this thing, We throw specs on this thing. Blizzards are hitting really hard in the snow. We also have, obviously, our Disquake options. Garchomp came up very late in the draft for me. I was actually considering Donphan in this round, but I decided to make a pivot because Garchomp just is too good. And Donphan would be a little bit more situational. I think that's a pretty strong Pokemon too. But it's nice to have a couple Mons that you can bring consistently to just about every game. And I think Garchomp pairs very well with Tornadus and Rotom Frost. So I decided to add that guy to the team. Hatterene, great Trick Room setter. Can't be taunted. We can throw a cloak on it so it can't be faked out. It's fairly bulky. The HP stat is a little bit low, which scares me a little bit. It's really my only extremely slow Pokemon. Beartic, pretty slow. Dewott, pretty slow. I'll get back to that one in a little bit. So Trick Room, I like to think of it as more of an option than something that I kind of want to build a team around. I feel like when you sometimes you try to force a Trick Room mode onto your team and it just conflicts with the other pieces. I might have trouble against teams that want to run Trick Room every week because Hatterene is my only really strong option. You know, Beartic is not the most consistent Pokemon. With Terra, I think it's really good, really high attack stat, low speed that can become fast with weather, but it's not the most consistent, and we're definitely not bringing a Bagmon every week. So this team might struggle a little bit with Trick Room, but I think a Pokemon like Goodra is going to help us stall out things like opposing speed control, because this thing is bulky. So really good typing. Steel and Dragon. Only weaknesses are fighting and ground. Okay, and we cover for those weaknesses quite a bit. So you can see here I have 3 ground immunities, 2 if you don't count Starly, which you shouldn't. And we also, we have a couple fighting resists here, but fighting might be a problem. You might have to take a look into this. I don't know. Tornadus, Typhlosion, Hatterene, they kind of cover for that weakness quite a bit too. So Goodra, really nice switch in, really nice to have in the back. Gooey is a pretty cool ability that can drop the opponent's speed. We also get Sap Sipper to help us deal with, the Amoonguss in the division, things like that. And then Shell Armor is really good for when we're just trying to bulk it out and stay alive and stall out. What else do we have on this team that I've not talked about? Trying to keep this brief, like I said. Wugtrio, whatever. It is what it is, okay? So it was on both finals teams last year, as everybody knows. I kind of needed a water type because I didn't have anything yet. And there's not a whole lot in that 2 and 1 point category. So did decide to go with the Wugtrio here. I mean, 120 base speed with the potential rain setup, with the triple dive move. I mean, this thing can do a little bit of damage. It is going to die. This is definitely going to be a Sash Hog if and when it ever comes. Dewott, I felt like was kind of good value for 1 point. This was the last round. So my last wheel pick, Carkol, was definitely on my radar too, but that was just going to give me another ground weakness, and I was kind of thinking, what is this thing actually going to do for my team? Is it actually going to come? Is it actually going to take any games? I felt like it wasn't bringing enough value. So Dewott has a really solid move pool, is also really bulky with Eviolite. Not the bulkiest, but pretty bulky, and water is a good typing. And one that was pretty strong with my team. Did give me a little bit of a weakness to electric, but again, if you're planning against a team like this and you're really concerned with mons like Starly and Dewott, you need to reconsider your prep, right? Because the type chart isn't everything. So getting those types at the end just to fill out the type chart, I feel like sometimes it's not really the play you want to make. You want to try to find those mons that, can I bring this once? Can I bring this 1 or 2 games? Can it have an impact? Like, for example, we saw Wugtrio last season with Poppin. Definitely had an impact. So I guess, Starly. I don't have anything to say about Starly. It's cute. So I guess I'm really happy with this team. This is kind of exactly what I set out for at the beginning of the draft. I mean, I found out I had first pick and I was like, Tornadus, right? That was my first round pick. That was at the top of my radar no matter where I was in the first round. And I wanted to be able to build a team around that synergized with Prankster moves really well, that synergized with Prankster weather when I want to bring it, that synergized with Tailwind, and with Tornadus' amazing Prankster move pool. We can also throw in Defiant there. It's not just a Prankster bot. I feel like it's going to be a lot of Prankster, but there are definitely going to be weeks when the opponent's running Intimidate because they see this Garchomp, they see Overquill, they see Beartic. There are strong physical threats on this team, so Defiant could definitely pay off. And you know, with the attack stat here of, what does Tornadus have? Yeah, 115 with Defiant, not bad. You know, 111 speed, pretty fast, so can maybe make something happen here. Yeah, anyways. Last season leading into this season, I think you can see some similarities. You know, Prankster support, extremely versatile Pokemon that, you know, you could bring just about every week doing something different. Bulky switch-ins, right? Solid but niche Intimidate in the back. I was really proud of my team last season, and I feel like this one is pretty solid too. So I guess we'll see how it turns out. The title of this video, I guess I should end with this. The Season of Hate. I just saw Sukaba's video title and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make a video for all the haters out there. I don't get no respect. And this season, I'm gonna take some names starting with Sam X. All right, you're going down, buddy.